Everybody, this is Chad Wakefield, the Chief Champion of You. Been a little while since we've posted some meaningful content, done a lot of the revival on the road stuff and talking about our projects, but been a while since I've posted on a topic. And I think the topic that's really swirling around in my head these days is this notion of art divides the audience. It was sort of said by Rick Rubin. I don't even know if it was an original thought by him, but the idea that art divides the audience, where you've got half of the folks really love it, half the folks really hate it. And I've thought about this as it relates to stakeholder engagement on projects. And you've got projects at times that are really, I don't say controversial, but they really really get people going. It ups their desires in different ways, either positively or negatively. And so you've got fans on one side, you've got people who are opposed on another, and trying to decide, well, how do we proceed from here? Right? If you're an artist, you may just put it out there, and well, if it sells or it's consumed, then great. If it doesn't, then we'll make some more. If you've got a project though, and you're trying to get it financed, or you're trying to get support for it to get, if it's a real estate project, get it, entitlements, land use entitlements and permits and things like that. You're going to spend a lot of money up front to get it to a point where it can be entitled, and then if you've got opposition, the division that does not like it, if those voices are strong enough, that project may just die, right? Whereas you may have people that really love it, and it's a healthy gamble and a healthy risk, and things move forward, there's no issues. But it's kind of like, well, the what if, if you've got such a division there where 50% of the people involved really like it and 50% of the people involved don't, it's a massive risk if you move forward with that kind of risk exposure. And so what do you do? Well, I think part of your project planning, your programming, has got to be a good, solid stakeholder engagement process. And I just recently completed a 3-part series in stakeholder engagement for Colorado Housing Finance Authority, where we talked about big picture stakeholder engagement, and then took a day to talk about internal and external, and different stakeholders coming in at different points of the project, different stakeholders having different levels of power and influence. And how do you analyze that to figure out who you're gonna put a lot of effort into, and how you communicate with them, and those that you're going to put less effort into working with, and how you communicate them. It's sort of balancing act. But this idea of art divides the audience, I really think it has a lot of application to projects and stakeholder engagement. And it's a pretty simple way to look at the world of projects initially, and get yourself started at least on the identification and then the analysis of stakeholders. And so if you're stuck and you're trying to figure out, how do we move forward, how do we do our engagement with our stakeholders, how do we just identify them to begin with, maybe think about it in those terms, that initially you may have kind of two camps, if you will. Sort of a like it and a opposition, right? People that almost hate it. They're just opposed to it. Think it's a horrible idea. They don't like the impact it's going to make, whatever it is. Well, so at least you've got two groups you can start with, and then you have to make decisions around: do we focus our energy on the group that really hates this? We got the group that loves it, and so we're gonna communicate with them. We're gonna keep them updated, and we may even take some of their positive ideas into different campaigns that we do. So that's one approach. And so you spend 20% of your time working on that, and then you got this oppositional group, and so you're gonna spend 80% of your time trying to convince them and bring them over to your side. That's one way to look at it. Or do we just put our focus in on the people that really are adopting this and almost forget about the other side? It's a big risk either way, but it's some food for thought on just how you get going in that process. How do you engage your stakeholders? How do you plan to work with them and communicate with them and build actions around that? So if you're stuck, maybe take a little bit of that quote from Ruben and keep that in mind and apply it as a starting point so that at least you can kind of clarify where you're at. You're never going to make everybody happy. You're not going to meet everybody's desires. You're going to have to meet some people's requirements, obviously, but you're not going to win everybody. And so how do you move forward? How do you engage? Again, maybe this is helpful, and it's easy enough to start with that kind of simple concept that you're going to have this sort of division of like and don't, and just start with them first, get those laid out, and then use that as a jumping off point to evolve who your other stakeholders might be, how you may have to work with them, and proceed and get to where you want to be. Hopefully this has been helpful. If you think I can help you out, feel free to reach out to me. Direct contact for me, 480-435-0623 is my telephone number, and my email address is chad@revivaldevelopmentservices.com. Thanks for watching.